Welcome to episode 107 of the Whatnauts review show, where every week we pick a story and we talk about it. This could be a movie, TV series, anime, manga, comic book, audio, drama, all kinds of entertainment. We watch it, read it, listen to it, and then we come back here and we talk about it. My name is Melissa Wilkinson, and I am joined, as always, by Kyle Springer.
Hello. How are you, Melissa?
I'm doing okay. You having yourself a fine weekend?
So far so good. I'm very tired.
Yeah.
I was
same.
up very late last night because I could not sleep.
Oh, beans. It's
Well,
been rainy here, so I've slept fine.
man. It's supposed to rain like all week this week here.
Ooh.
Like, nonstop. So
Man, I kind of like it when it rains more than ever now, because when it rains, it feels like I'm supposed to be inside. Like
Right.
this is normal. And then when I look out my window, there's something to look at. You know,
nice and sunny.
rain.
It's like, oh man. I want to go out there.
Yeah, rain is like dynamic. It moves. It's moody. It's atmospheric. Like, I put on a lot of ambient YouTube videos where it's like you're inside a library with a crackling fireplace and stuff like that. I've never put on one of a sunny day. I only put on ones of rainy days. Even when it's already raining outside, I'm like double, twice as much.
More rain. Need more rain. What are we talking about this week?
We watched the anime film Paprika. This was directed by Satoshi Kon, who did Tokyo Godfathers and Perfect Blue and Millennium Actress. And this came out in 2006.
Indeed. Satoshi Kon is one of my favorites.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen a lot of his work, mostly his movies and anime. Haven't read any of his manga.
Oh.
Which I didn't even know he created a couple mangas.
Ooh.
Until like last year, the year before-ish, something like that. And so now it's like, oh, one day I'm gonna have to go read those.
They'd be neat. I'd like to see what they are. We've watched Perfect Blue together on the show before, and you watched Tokyo Godfathers with a previous co-host in a previous incarnation of this show.
Yeah. Both of which are on our website,
Yeah.
Whatnauts.com. But the review show
Mm-hmm.
was...
It was last year.
It was
like,
episode 46.
oh, man. That's so long ago.
Yeah. Actually, that would have been almost a year ago.
No, I think it was in the winter.
It was February.
Yep.
Oh, a little more than a year. Okay. Good stuff. Yeah. Perfect Blue, I would say, is one of, if not maybe my favorite movies.
Ooh, yeah.
But Paprika was the first thing that I saw of Satoshi Kon's. And I saw it. I've only seen it once, besides what we watched for this one, but it was 10 years ago. It was 2010.
An ancient time.
When I watched it. Yeah. And this movie came out in 2006, I believe.
Yes.
And yeah. Now that you have seen Satoshi Kon's Paprika, what did you think?
Yeah, I hadn't seen it before, and I pitched this to you because I watched Inception last weekend.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that this is heralded as very similar to Inception, and people are like, Christopher Nolan definitely watched this before he made that movie, right? And maybe he did. I don't know how long he was working on the story for Inception, which came out in 2010. That might have been something he was simmering on for a while.
Yeah.
But the movies have a similar, we're going to explore dreams kind of plot line, and a couple visual similarities as well. Great double feature. Not exactly double feature because I watched them like 5 days apart, but you know, I'll count 1 week's time span as a double feature. Sure.
You probably want some time in between them because they're both like very surreal and like what is going on, what's happening, so you want some time to like sit and think and be like, okay, that's what that was actually about. This character was actually more important than I thought, and that. Good.
I liked it. It was a little tough to follow, so I had to watch like a recap video later, sort of make sure that I had everything straight. I think I also might have watched it when I was too tired, which is the downfall of many of my film viewing experiences. Whoops, I'm sleepy, but I'm too stubborn to actually turn this off and go back to it later. I liked it a lot. It's visually stunning. It looks
really
so good. Not like
really
2006 was that long ago, but it looks like this could have been made yesterday. It's really crisp.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's one that I remember watching it 10 years ago and just having my mind blown, and like, I didn't even know something like this was possible. Holy moly.
Yeah.
This was amazing. And then Inception came out and I was like, child's play. But like it's very imaginative. It's very surreal. What you think is perspective or not possible is suddenly possible in this. It's fun to watch.
Yeah.
Even if you aren't necessarily keeping up with the plot.
Yeah, and it's not really a drama. Like there's a little bit of there's a little bit of a mystery there. One of the main characters is a detective investigating a murder. There are murders, but still, like, it's fun. It's more of an adventure sci-fi film than anything else.
Yeah, it was good. It was interesting getting to watch this a second time. Because it felt a lot easier to follow. Being like, oh yeah, actually this is not that complicated. Once you kind of can, it's like, okay, this is happening. This is what it's actually about. It's all of that stuff. Oh, this is actually isn't that bad. It's good. It's good. I don't know where this would. Let's see. Perfect Blue is my favorite. I think I like Tokyo Godfathers next. And then this one. So this would probably be in my third place spot of Satoshi Kon's. Go.
Yeah.
You want to do a synopsis for people that have not seen this yet?
Yeah, I'm gonna. I was looking at the Wikipedia article earlier to like refresh myself on making sure I have everybody's names right. And the Wikipedia synopsis is actually it's pretty apt, so I'm gonna go ahead and read it off of here. Actually,
okay.
A device called the DC Mini allows the user to view people's dreams. The head of the team working on the treatment, Dr. Chiba, begins using the machine illegally to help psychiatric patients outside the research facility, using her alter ego Paprika, a persona she assumes in the dream world. Chiba's closest allies are the chief of the department and Dr. Tokita, an obese genius man-child and inventor of the DC Mini.
Great.
So, I don't know if I would have phrased it like that, but okay. Paprika counsels a Detective Konakawa, who's plagued by a recurring dream. So, you have this detective trying to solve this murder mystery in his dream. You have these scientists who are working on this technology that allows you to view dreams, record dreams, watch them back, go into dreams, and this is all for like therapeutic reasons. Like they're doing this isn't like a black ops
science.
Yeah, like they've got some noble goals with it, but there's been like a guy left the team and like has taken the technology with him and is using it like is like a revenge mission against his old coworkers. You've got this woman in the middle of it who is the scientist and then has this other persona in the dream world who's this like bright, vibrant magic girl.
Yeah, it's good. It's fun. There's a bit of a mystery of like who exactly, because they know that somehow someone has gotten a hold of this technology, and they don't know who it is exactly at first. They have an idea of who they think it is, and then it ends up being bigger than they thought of, like who is actually using this technology and stuff. But they are using it to hurt people and kind of cause chaos and stuff like that, and it's hurting people, it's destroying things, it's killing them, it's all sorts of stuff. And so they have to find out who it is and stop them. Yeah, I think that's about it without really spoiling things or getting into all of that stuff.
Yeah. That's
anything else you'd like to...
No, that's complicated enough to begin with.
Yeah, for sure. Well, let's get on to housekeeping, and then we will dive in and do some spoilers and start talking about the film a little bit more in depth. If you guys did not know, we have multiple podcasts here at the Whatnauts. You guys can go check them out on our website, thewhatnauts.com. If you guys like what we do, patreon.com/thewhatnauts is where you can support us. You guys can get access to episodes early. You guys can get some exclusive content, all sorts of stuff. Speaking of exclusive content, it looks like we're about to have some new stuff for one of our podcasts called The Reactor Core. I think we're also going to be recording a spoiler cast on the new Scooby-Doo movie called Scoob.
Yeah.
So that should be fun. Be on the lookout for all of that stuff. But we would also like to give a big shout out to our Patreon supporters at our $5 tier. So thank you, Sam, for helping us out, keeping the mics on. Get it.
Thank you.
Exactly. Okay. Alyssa, house has been kept.
Do
the thing. My stream deck has been acting up, so I'm going to see if I can do the spoiler alert the old-fashioned way.
By turning a crank wheel?
Exactly. And it worked. Okay. Spoiler territory. Here we are, doing our thing, diving in. Melissa, let me ask you this before we actually start talking about the movie itself. Do you remember your dream?
Yeah, probably about an average amount, as much as anybody does.
Okay. Camera just got very.
Oof.
Anyways, while I'm fixing that, yeah, I'm I think a strange person because I don't remember mine. It's literally just black. Like I don't remember a thing. I fall asleep and I wake up. That's it.
I don't like that.
It's just like I wish. I mean, it's one of those things that I know I do dream. They say you dream like 7 times every night, and every once in a while I'll remember stuff, but it's very rare. I do. So people's dreams have often been like, tell me about them. That's really cool. I don't have those. What are those?
No.
What is a dream? Okay. Have you had like recurring dreams or nightmares or stuff like that you remember?
Yeah, like there's like
share exactly.
There's like certain like themes and motifs that show up over and over again. I still, here in the year 2020, I don't remember exactly the last time I had one, but I know it's recent enough. I still have dreams about going to Blockbuster. And my dad's like, you better pick out a movie now. I'm going to leave. If you don't pick something out now, we're going to leave and you're not going to get a movie. And I have to pick out what movie. Well, listen, that still happens to me.
That is incredible. That is like, most people have stress dreams of like missing a test at school or like being late for a meeting at work and you're in your underwear or something, and Melissa, your stress dream is we're at Blockbuster and we're about to leave. You need to pick something now or we're not going to get anything.
I also have dreams.
What do I pick?
I have dreams where it's Halloween and I'm not prepared and I don't have a costume. I've got a lot of a certain type of stress dream where it's like I'm leaving to go somewhere and I'm like, hold on, I'm going to put a necklace on before I leave. And then like I can't find anything and like time warps in the dream and it's like I've spent 4 hours looking for a necklace and now I've completely missed that thing I was even going to go to. They're the worst.
Interesting. Let me ask you one more thing. When you were younger, what was your dream job? Like, what was the thing you're like, when I grow up, I want to be an astronaut?
Oh, I wanted to be like a lot of different things. I always wanted to be something creative. Even when I was like 7 or 8 years old and I didn't know like what type of creative thing was right for me yet. I've also always wanted to be a secretary. Oh. I've wanted to be a Pepper Potts.
Dream big. That's
not to call Pepper Potts a secretary, but like I'm the right hand lady. Like I don't have all the power, but I have all the secrets. I have all the information. I'm the person who really gets things done. Like that archetype entered my head.
You have all of the power, even though you don't. But
like that archetype entered my head at a very young age. I have not been able to trace it to where, but I've always wanted to be like a businesswoman of some type.
Gotcha. I think for me, I knew from a very young age that I was like, I want to be an artist of some kind.
That's good.
I want to draw or paint or something. I didn't know exactly what, but I knew I wanted to do art. And I had like this aha moment when I was young. I think I was drawings, or I had like traced something. Which I like was not an original piece of artwork, but it was like me teaching myself. It's like, okay, these are the proportions. This is what a superhero looks like, all of that stuff. And then on the bus one day, this was in like first grade, maybe. They were like, wow, that's really cool. I want one. Can you make me one? And then I just had this like light bulb moment that was like, I can make them this stuff. And I can charge them money. Amazing.
Wow.
So yeah, it was like, I want to be an artist.
Good.
Yeah. So that's, I ask you that stuff because this movie is all about dreams in multiple different ways.
Yeah.
From what you like physically dream about at night to like what your dream job was and what you always wanted to be.
Yeah, it's also about aspirations and like the version of yourself you've always wanted to be. Like you look at Dr. Chiba, who's like very straight-laced, very serious. She's this businesswoman. She's a scientist. Like she's got her hair in a bun and her glasses and she's like working in her lab. And Paprika's got this like short, very brightly dyed hair. She's wearing all these cute outfits. You know, she's wearing like jeans and she's sort of scampering around town, like riding a moped, like being like cute and flirty with people. Yeah, like you see, like this is what this woman has always wanted to be, has always aspired to be, but has never totally gotten there. But in the dreams, she has enough freedom that she can reinvent herself like that.
Yeah, it's something that I think in my first viewing of the film 10 years ago, I didn't necessarily really understand that was the alter ego of... It's... Like, I did, but I didn't. Like, it hit me later on in the film. But then again, it was like... when I was looking into Satoshi Kon and being like, okay, who is he? What has he done? The thing I see multiple times is like, this is a mindfuck. You're going to be like, it's Paprika, it's perfect blue. There's a little bit of that stuff in Tokyo Godfathers, stuff like that. And it was just like, there are twists and things you think that are happening are not really happening, but they are in a different way. And it's all that stuff. So I don't think like I fully understood that until later on. And in this second viewing, like, oh yeah, that makes sense from like square one. It was just like, oh yeah, that's her alter ego. That's what she wants to be, who she sees herself as. So yeah, that was an interesting tidbit.
Yeah, and that's not really clear until like halfway through the movie. Like after the initial opening, this movie is a great opening, where it starts in the circus and then it goes through all of that detective's different dreamscapes that he has, which are all like movie genres. There's like a Tarzan movie, which is a public domain. I think there's another one that's just like a genre, like a gangster film or something. And
There's
then
like
one
a
of them is
spy.
just and one of them is specifically
style.
Roman Holiday, like exactly Roman Holiday.
Yeah,
Which I've seen
they put in the credits. They mention that, and like, and thanks for whoever the studio is for letting us use Roman Holiday.
Yeah, and I feel like I've seen Roman Holiday referenced in some other anime before, real specifically. So I wonder if that's like a big Western cultural touchstone over there in Japan.
Yeah, I wonder if it was one of the movies that made it over, and they're just like, oh, this is what they do. This is what white people do. Okay.
Yeah, it's not clear right away that Paprika is Dr. Chiba's alter ego. So after this dreamscape that they introduce you with, Paprika leaves the hotel where she's been working with the detective, and like she leaves on her moped, and like you see her like, and this you can tell is sort of exaggeration. It's sort of special effects and fantasy things where you like, she drives past a truck and like the little graphic on the side of the truck starts dancing, and then she's like flying up in the air and stuff like that, and it goes from that, and then it cuts to Dr. Chiba driving in her like a sensible sedan. And you look at it in retrospect and it's like, okay, here's the fantasy, here's the reality. But when you're first watching it, it seems like just a juxtaposition. Like these are separate women, and here's,
here's
wild
a new
fun
character.
Yeah, here's wild fun, free-spirited Paprika, and then this stern science lady.
Yeah. Something else that I like about Dr. Chiba, however you say her name, is like the film ends up looping back around on itself, because after we meet her, one of the first things we see is she's in the parking garage. She opens the elevator door, and what's his name is in there, and he's just stuck.
Yeah.
Like, you still don't know what to make of the film yet. You don't know what the genre really is yet.
Yeah.
And he has this thing where he's stuck, but then the way he turns his head is almost scary. It's almost horrifying.
Yeah, you got a point.
Like it looks like something from the Exorcist or something. And then he's just like, sorry, like can you help me out here? And so like it turns out to be this really like childlike moment.
Yeah.
But then the film loops back around on itself by the end, and we find out that she's actually in love with him, and she's never really admitted that. She's just kind of kept to her like, okay, I am at my job. I need to keep this professional. I need need to do all of that stuff, and I think throughout the course of the film, she kind of learns like, hey, maybe I don't need to be so square. Whatever. Like I don't know what the right word there is.
Yeah.
She's not necessarily like uptight or anything, but she's very organized. That might be a good word of like, okay, I am at my job. I need to do my job. That's it.
I want to talk about the parking garage for a bit, because I feel like parking garages are typically ominous. Do you agree with this?
Scary. Yeah,
when you see, like, not so much in real life, but like in a movie. Like when you see a parking garage, it's like, oh, something bad is about to happen. Or at least something serious, something kind of eerie. Like in All the President's Men, I think the reporters are meeting with their government contact in a parking garage. Like there's something clandestine and like secretive going on in a parking garage, right?
Yeah.
So like when you mentioned like she goes into her parking garage and she's gonna take the elevator up to her apartment unit, and like the guy's stuck in the elevator and you don't know like what the tone of the story is yet. I'm like, yeah, I also remember feeling briefly like, oh, we're in a parking garage. Is something bad going to happen? And then it turns into large man stuck in elevator door. Needs small woman to pull him out. Like it gets a little silly. But I'm wondering if because in Tokyo, in like big city urban Japan, if like the high rises are so common that like everybody is used to parking garages, like it's probably like parking garages on the bottom and then like your apartments are up top. Like, are they so much more common in Japan that a parking garage is just a parking garage and it's not this like ominous zone like it is in American cinema?
I mean, yeah, we're kind of taught that that's where secret agents meet.
Yeah.
Threats are made in dark, poorly lit parking garages.
Yes.
Someone is probably in your backseat hiding, right? You know, like that's just what happens. And then we don't say that here. I don't know if that's enough to be like, I wonder if they do it differently in Japan.
I was just wondering, like,
it's still just like we don't know what the film is yet.
Yes. Yeah.
So
it's like, we can't nail like the tone or the genre down, but also I was aware like, there's probably cultural stuff that I'm not getting. Like this, I am probably reading parking garage different than it was intended.
Yeah. See, what's big guy's name?
Dr. Tokita.
Tokita, yeah.
He was interesting because he's a very large man to the point where it looks like he's from another movie entirely. Like he's in the same style of animation that everybody else is. Like his line weights are the same. You know, he's not exaggerating. He's just so big. He's comically large. And I couldn't.
Yeah. It's honestly though something that I think Satoshi Kon typically does really well, where he has very like normal looking people, like their noses aren't perfect. They might have like a longer face, or this character might be taller, this character might be shorter and have like a crooked eye or something. In this one, I think we see it the most, where it's like you have this comically this comically large guy, this super tiny doctor who's like
so small,
4 feet tall. Yeah, then you have this like really slender woman. You have this character who's bald and in a wheelchair. You have Paprika, who is more flirty. She has a shorter haircut. She's skipping as she moves. It's just like the characters are diverse in body type.
Yes,
which is really interesting to see because that's not something you really see in anime. I mean, there are examples of stuff like that, but it's still something that's just not super common. And so, to me, despite him being as large as he is, which could be played as comedy and stuff like that, and it often is, but it's nice to see.
It is.
He was, I think, maybe my favorite character. Just because he is so lovable, and I think he has one of the more emotional stories of the characters, where he kind of knows that he's or at least he thinks that he's overweight, and that kind of makes him sad, and he doesn't really know how to fix that, or I don't know what the right is there. But so instead, he dives into his work, and he makes these incredible machines. He's like, with this, you can share your dreams with people, and it's like, wow, like that's actually kind of deep, and it's kind of touching. But yet here you are in this one scene where they're like, okay, who has the steak? And they're like, that's me. And he's like, okay, who has this? Like, that's also me. It's like, who has this fruit? He's like, that one's me too. Me too.
Yeah, like I couldn't figure out how to read these things because they were doing these very broad fat guy comedy jokes.
Yeah.
Which seemed outside of what the rest of the movie was doing. It was not going for this very broad, obvious, like standard vaudevillian joke of fat guy gets stuck in places and orders a lot of food. Like I couldn't figure out how it fit into the rest of the narrative at first, but he is ultimately sympathetic, which I was glad. Like it took me a little while to figure out like how this movie was going to treat that character, but like he is very smart, capable, sympathetic, like a really great guy, very well rounded, which seems like a pun here,
no
but
pun
I don't
intended,
intend it to be. Yeah, he was interesting. I am glad like where he ended up. He also spends like the last half hour of the movie as a robot.
Does, yeah, which is also kind of his dream. But yeah, the last thing I'll say about the comedy around him is that like it's played for enough of a joke that you know it's supposed to be a joke, but it's not super funny. It's not like it's not like knee slapping like, oh, this was great.
Yeah.
It's just like, oh, okay, they're doing a joke about that. So you know it's supposed to be a lighter tone. I think in that regard, it's supposed to kind of let your guard down with him. I think, and make you more comfortable with him. Is what I think they were going for.
Yeah,
something I've seen before.
Yeah, and you have a point here where in a movie where we don't really know what's going on, we don't know like what's ominous and what isn't. Like, I feel like the character that the movie is going to make all the jokes about, well, he keeps ordering food, is not going to be a villain. No movie is going to make that the same character.
Yeah.
It's like we can't put all of these different, like, we're making all these jokes about him and he's the antagonist.
Yeah. Well, the first kind of really ominous thing in the film is actually the opening. But we quickly learn that that's a dream sequence, and so that kind of puts us at ease again, not being far in the film of just being like, okay, that was a dream sequence. A little unnerving when he's in that cage and all these people are rushing at him, and it's all like his face and stuff. That's kind of scary.
Yeah,
but we still don't know what the film is, and then I think when we put two and two together is shortly after that scene when Dr. Chiba is pulling him out of the elevator. They go into work and they're kind of discussing what's happening, that hey, someone is using this technology. We don't know who it is. They're starting to hurt people. We need to find them. And they're like, okay, don't tell the director. We need to solve this before we get in there. They open up the door, and director or whoever he is in there, and he already. And in the midst of that, as they're talking about it, the small doctor guy, I don't remember his up here.
Yeah.
Real fast.
That's Dr. Shima.
Shima. Okay.
Okay.
So he. Well, yeah.
I'm looking at Wikipedia. It says there's the chief of the department, and then later it says the chairman of the company, who is a man in a wheelchair. So that's kind of a handy mnemonic to remember. That's who that is. There's also another guy who's like the brown-haired guy.
Dr. Osanai.
Okay. Yes.
Yeah, so they like as they're talking to the like chairman of the whole company, that smaller doctor starts to just like speak nonsense.
Yeah.
And that's when you kind of start putting two and two together of being like, okay, I saw a dream sequence at the start.
Mm.
Weird things are happening now. Is this a dream? Is this
Yeah.
still a dream? Did just change scenes? We don't know, but they're also talking about this like machine that's causing people harm through their dreams, and now they don't
Mm.
even need the machine to do it. And it's a weird thing, and you're like, okay, something is up, but
Yeah.
we don't know. And I think that is like the first ominous moment, and the dude ends up like jumping out the window.
Yeah. And then you see the dream that is like haunting him, like affecting him this much. And it is just this wild parade of creatures and inanimate objects. Yeah, like he says, like the fridge and the mailbox will lead the way. And he's like on like this, he's being carried on this pallet, like covered with dolls.
Yeah,
He's like a doll prince.
yeah. That parade is like a recurring theme motif. And yeah, it is just this like forward movement that it's this loud noise. We don't necessarily understand it or what's all inside it. It's kind of a metaphor for dreams itself, right? Whenever we see it, it's just moving. Like dreams don't really give you a chance to catch up and study it. Like you're just along for the ride, right? Don't necessarily know what's underneath the large pile of dolls that's halfway in that thing, and don't know why is there a walking refrigerator there. That makes no sense, you know. I I liked that, and I think that is it's we well, do we know whose dream that is exactly?
Oh.
Because as it progresses, we start to learn that the dreams of other people are mixing. I don't know if we know exactly if that is the doctor's dream.
I think the origin point is that other scientist who left.
Okay.
The guy who was making all the dolls. I think so.
Yeah. Interesting. Could make sense. Just like a big parade of toys and objects.
I want to talk about Inception for a bit.
Cool.
Because I just watched Inception last week, and I've been told that these movies are fairly similar, and they are to the extent that you are going inside a dream. It's about being inside of a dream and like using dreams as like weapons and as like the setting for secret agent, like evil clandestine business. They make dreams into the parking garages of the mind.
Yeah.
And it's got that going for it, but these are stylistically very, very different. And the dreams in Paprika are really silly. Like you've got ones like the circus one that the movie opens up with that are more like, this is a kind of normal situation to begin with. I mean, it's like a normal for a detective action movie, not normal for an average civilian. Like he's staking out, somebody who's going to try and kill him at a circus. So it starts with a quote unquote normal thing, and then it starts getting weird. Where like suddenly like the magician does a magic trick, and then he's inside the cage on the stage, and then he's being flooded by all of these people from the audience that have his same face.
Yeah.
Like that's a little bit more like things are normal, now they're weird. And then from then on out, it's like everything's just really exaggeratedly full-blown wacky with like this parade of like inanimate objects and weird animals. And then when it infects the city, like everybody's like turning into cats, or like you see the school kids and like they're just school uniforms that have phones, like cell phones sticking out where their heads used to be.
Yeah,
and I thought about this.
That one in particular was strange because I don't remember what they're talking about at that moment, but it is something along the lines of like dreams are about all sorts of things. It can be something you've always wanted or working through problems you've had. And that's when we see in the parade there's a line of these women in the like schoolgirl sailor outfits with cell phones for heads, and then these like Japanese businessmen also with cell phones for heads come up and do like these upskirt shots as they like lift up their skirts for them. It was so weird,
and it's all in a line. It's like a chorus line. It's like this was choreographed. Like this is part of a stage show.
Yeah.
So you've got this very wacky version of dreams, and then in Inception, it's a lot more like things are normal, things are mundane, and it's just like the architecture of it that gets weird. Like you're just in like you're doing otherwise normal things in a space that doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Like you've seen like the MC Eschering of buildings, or like when all the water floods in through that building they're in at the beginning, like stuff like that. And honestly, between these two things, like Inception is much closer to real dreams that I have had in the way that I would think about dreams. Like they're mundane, like there's nothing remarkable about them, but the circumstances you're in are just like shifted some degrees over to one side. And the architecture thing in particular, like a weird motif I have in my dreams is that I'm out somewhere. Like it's never my own city. It's like I'm traveling to some other city and there's a huge building on the horizon, like a preposterously tall building. And I keep like, I can't look at it and I can't look away from it. Like the entire dream is like me doing something else. It's like me checking into a hotel desk with my family, but I just keep like darting my eyes out the window and then darting them back because I am in awe of and terrified of a building that's too tall. Which seems like if it's,
how did they make that? It is
right?
Too tall.
Like if you take me to Dubai, I will think I am asleep. But like the Inception like echoes these real things that I have had, like normal activities, and like there is a structure to the place. This is the Inception has structure. The structure is just wrong, and the dreams in Paprika have no structure to them.
I feel like the dreams in Paprika are more how people on the outside view them, right? Because like if you've heard someone talk in their sleep, sometimes they might say a sentence that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like no, leave the milk out.
Yeah.
That's it. But sometimes they're just babbling, which is also kind of what they do in this film. So I think they kind of take that approach where it's just like this whole thing is just nonsensical. So.
Yeah, like I think they're both valid approaches, and all the stuff they're doing in Paprika is dazzling to watch. Like that parade is so fun.
Oh yeah.
And I like little touches of it. Like there's a fridge at the opening of this parade, and the fridge door like flaps open, and inside the fridge door is a boom box that's like placed on its end.
Yeah.
And I like those steps. Like, is there anything normal inside the fridge? No. It's an object you would never put in the fridge. And it's an object at an orientation you would never set it down at.
Yeah. I like that though, because it's still but both of them give you that like unsettling feeling.
Yeah.
Inception, I think, does a better job of, well, not necessarily. Like I think Inception with its color schemes and the more architectural, like the structure is wrong, like you were talking about, I think makes it unsettling in a like a darker crime noir type of way, whereas Paprika, as brightly colored as it is and as like silly and ridiculous and nonsensical, it's almost more horrific in this stuff, because there's a lot of like horrifying stuff that happens. We mentioned the one at the start with the being in the cage and the faces. There's the one of like these creepy dolls and all of that stuff. Just the idea that Paprika is like morphing into the other characters. There's that like very horrifying, I guess, yeah, you could just say rape scene that is trying to happen, but it's still a dream, and the guy like puts his hand inside her and then like moves it up inside. It's like it's like the whole thing is just horrifying.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, Inception also deals with time, the dilation of time a lot more, which is another reason I like relate to that, because I was just talking about like, oh, I'm gonna run out the door. I just have to put my shoes on, and then 6 hours later I've found my shoes.
Yeah.
Right. Like Inception is this long, slow time burn. And the weirdness to it is also like very minute differences or things you're not gonna catch right away. Inception is a world where if you were there, the dream world of Inception, if you're there too long, it will slowly like make you question everything. And the dream worlds depicted in Paprika are like, oh, immediately I've lost my mind. Like they're both very different types of like haunting, harrowing, dangerous things.
Yeah. Which could also be a reflection on what is happening in the film, right? Because things are not normal. We know that someone has stolen this technology, and it's like, hey, they are doing bad things with this. They are hurting people. Things are not as they should be. But explain why it's so ridiculous. Then again, it's a dream, so who knows? Let's talk about the cop.
Yeah.
I think this can also kind of relate to Inception is more like they focus more on the crime aspects of it's like a crime thriller type of thing, where this is not as much like, yeah, crime has happened and is happening, but I wouldn't necessarily describe this as a crime film.
No.
However, the cop, I think his name you said was Konakawa.
Yeah.
He, I think, is maybe more of the central figure in this entire film. It's strange because it's named Paprika, but we don't actually get much of Paprika.
Well, if you combine Paprika and Chiba, we spend most of the movie with one or two of them. Sort of.
Right, yeah.
Like we're if we're not following Paprika, we're following the woman who is Paprika's real world alter ego. Detective Konakawa seems like he's going to be the most major character at the beginning, and then the story does kind of leave him for a while when it follows this group of scientists.
Yeah, but I think at the end of the day, his story arc is maybe the most normal. I guess like the most easy to follow. In the sense that he is a cop. He is trying to. It seems like he's gotten wind of the stuff that is happening, that someone has stolen this technology, so he's kind of helping them, but not really. He's also on this murder case that has happened recently that we really don't know much about. The movie just kind of mentions it. But he's also seeing things in his dreams that relate to his childhood, in which he wanted to be a filmmaker.
Yeah.
And I like that was something that I thought was really neat. How his character is the one where it's like his dream is what he wanted to be when he was younger.
Yeah.
It's not like, oh, this is the best version of myself, and so that's what I dream about. He's just like, I wanted to be a filmmaker. But then we learn that dream is also kind of deceptive. It's more so he wanted to be a cop. And he thought that was wanted to be a filmmaker because they were making a film in which he was a cop and his friend was the bad guy, and it's this big long chase scene, stuff like that. And yeah, like they never ended up finishing that movie, and so I think that's why he was like, well, I want to keep being a filmmaker so I can finish that movie.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it's like, no, he actually just wanted to get the bad guy. He wanted to get the bad guy. Which I think is neat, just to have that like realization of like, this is something I've dreamed about my entire life, and I'm actually living it out now. Like, I don't necessarily need to be a filmmaker because I am now the cop. I thought that was neat.
Yeah, and he's an interesting parallel to Chiba, who has this dream alter ego where he is like, he's kind of a movie buff, but he has this part of himself hidden away. Like, he tells her, like, I don't like movies. I don't go to the movies. But you go inside his dreamscape, and it is just like a row of theaters playing Tarzan and Roman Holiday and all that. And I like that he also he's trying to be a professional. Like, he is a detective, but he's not really aware of the fact that it was movies that inspired him to be a detective in the first place.
Right.
Like, he's got this thing that I think he views as like frivolous, that he's like put in a box up on a mental shelf and he doesn't touch.
Yeah.
And then which is interesting that that's his struggle. Like, he doesn't have any like deep, dark secret or flaw. He's so devoted to his job that he feels weird about having a hobby, like a fantastical hobby. And he's got these movies hidden away in his head. And then you go to like the other scientist's house and they're like, it's covered with dolls and toys and action figures, because that's what these guys were into. Like, this movie is an interesting portrayal of like, if you are a business person, or like if you're a career person, if you've got this dedicated career, like how do your hobbies interact with your career? Are they front and center? Like, do your coworkers, do they go over to your desk and like know that you do these, like you've got an action figure or movie poster, whatever? Or is it like, this is a secret part of my life? And this is, remember, Love is Hard for an Otaku? Like, there was a theme in that too. It's like all these career people, and one of them finds out like, oh, you're really into video games? He's like, yeah, I'm really into video games. Like, the amount to which you display or hide your hobbies in a professional setting seems like maybe it's a theme.
It's an interesting theme because I think that is something that happens more overtly in Japan.
Yeah.
Where there is this idea of the company man, where they work nonstop for this company and basically have to sacrifice everything else. But then you get these business people that then go home and they have a house full of action figures, full of like Sailor Moon style magical girls and stuff like that. And it's like, that's secretly who they are, and they don't really tell people that. And it's interesting because here in the West, it still happens, right? Like, there is a sense of like, okay, well, this is my job. These are my coworkers. They aren't necessarily my friends. Could make friends with them if I want to. But I think it's less common here, where it's like, hey, let's go to happy hour together and figure out who we are and all that. So we're a team, and all of that stuff. And it's interesting to see, because I think this film really brings it out.
Yeah.
Is this guy who is in the box of detective.
He
cannot be outside of that box where there is movies.
I just loved that something that low stakes is like the key to this guy's character.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess one way you could look at it is that as a detective, you need to look at the facts. What is actually true? Whereas movies are often about things that are not true, or in the sense they have been fabricated. They are imaginative. They are stuff like that. And so I think it might not have necessarily been something that he wanted to do, but it could have been like, hey, I'm a cop. I need to focus on what is real. I can't be using my imagination and speculating and stuff like that. And so, right? No more movies. Right. that seems like that wouldn't be the conclusion that he makes. Is like, I am a cop now. I can no longer watch movies. It is forbidden. All movies are forbidden. Right? That's not.
Mm-hmm.
That's not what would happen.
No.
It should have been this like subconscious, like I need to be the best cop that I can be to focus.
Yeah. What was your favorite set piece in this movie? Because it's visually superb.
Yeah. I think favorite set piece. I mean, I love a good dilapidated amusement park.
Right? Which
That's
I think is supposed to be,
one.
they call it Dreamland, I think. So I guess it's supposed to be Nara Dreamland, which was a direct copy of Disneyland. Like before there was an actual Tokyo Disneyland, there was another neighboring town called Nara that built a Disneyland theme park called Dreamland. And then once actual Tokyo Disneyland opened, it immediately just closed, it crumbled, but it's all still there. So you're looking at this weird alternate universe Cinderella castle just crumbling in the Japanese countryside.
Great. No, I don't know if there was like a specific set piece that really drew me in. To me, it was all of the like that shouldn't happen. The thing where there's the scene where the guy is sleeping at the computer and you see Paprika in the computer.
Yeah.
She's off of the screen and she's in real life behind his cubicle. Like I love that stuff. And she jumps into the poster of the like horse races. She's now in the horse races. I would like that. Like to me, that is something that Inception didn't do, and I feel like on one hand, I would have liked to see, but I don't think it would have fit in Inception. Just this idea of like how you move through different dreams.
Yeah.
Again, like I mentioned at the start, like they say you dream 7 times every night, but they don't like that doesn't necessarily mean it's like distinct dreams.
Yeah.
Right? It is this mix of like, yeah, at one point we were like in an office building running from an alligator, and then the next thing I know we're at a horse race. Like, right? Like that is something you would hear someone say, and I think this movie really does a good job of like, okay, now they're in this like motorcycle and sidecar driving down the road, and they like jump out, and we learn that is an advertisement on the side of a truck. It's like that is so cool. Like you have to really think, but at the same time not think about how all of that stuff works. Of just like, okay, they need to escape. So what do? I don't know. How about there's an advertisement behind them for a moving company, and they're all of a sudden moving furniture into a truck. They pack it up and then they go. It's like, sure, I guess. Like I guess that's what they can do, and they make it work. Like a lot of the visuals often end up being not important in like they both do and not. There are certain things that's like, okay, this is specifically a metaphor who you are or what you think or what you like, but then there are these scenes where it's just like, I'm gonna jump into a horse race, not because I wanted to be a horse racer or whatever they call themselves,
an equestrian, a jockey.
That one. Yeah. Like it's not because that's what they aspired to be. It's just because that's what they did. Okay, fine, that works.
Yeah, it doesn't mean anything. It's just it moves the story along, and it looks very cool.
Right. Yeah,
I really dug the radio club site that we would go to, like when after
Yeah.
Paprika and Konakawa have this meeting in a hotel room, do this dream experiment. She gives him a business card with this web address on it for radioclub.jp, and he goes to it, and it is this like virtual bar. Like it's a virtual, like really classy high-end bar. And he goes in, and there's a bar, and there's two bartenders, and he's like, I'm here to see Paprika. And they're like, yes, you go this way. And it's real fuzzy, like how much of this is like an actual thing he is seeing like on his computer screen. It's like he's on the website, and then he's like living this thing. Like there's this blur between what's real and like what's fantasy. And he goes to like this back room in this bar, and it's all just like polished, like wood walls, like wood wainscoting. And then it's got like lush red velvet wallpaper and like soft glowing, like romantic lights. It looks really cool. And like he goes to a back room, and like Paprika's hanging out there in a booth, just wearing her jeans and a t-shirt. Like, I guess this bar doesn't have a dress code. She looks underdressed to be in a bar. So nice.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is where they have these sort of meetings in this virtual bar space. I really dug the radio club. I want to go to that real bar. There
you go.
I also really liked, you just see it briefly in like two scenes. The chairman of that science corporation, his office is like, it's like this big concrete room with this massive skylight, and the skylight shines down on this like plant bed. Like half of his office is like these huge, lush, like overflowing plants in this rock bed. And it's gorgeous. I love big plants in an office setting.
There you go. Yeah, it's an interesting one. That's for sure. Let's talk about kind of the end of the film, and this again, I don't remember his name, the chairman of the whole company.
Oh yeah, the chairman is Dr. Inui. Inoue. Okay, that sounds right.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah. So what we find out happens is the doctor, I'm terrible with names, Tokita, his lab assistant, is the one that stole the technology.
Yeah.
But it sounds like I don't know if it was exactly that he was under orders from the chairman or whatnot, but in the long run, we learn that it is the chairman. Does not like this technology. He thinks that dreams are sacred, and that this technology is now intruding on something he shouldn't know.
Yeah.
We're gonna mess with the subconscious and stuff like that. So he is basically trying to hoard this technology and master it so that he can be the master of the dream world and keep everyone out that he wants to. He starts to realize someone is messing with dream technology or stuff like that. Oh, you're dead.
Yeah.
No. But yeah, he does that by basically wearing the technology too much to the point where he basically gains the powers of this thing without necessarily having to use it. That he can go in other people's dreams and stuff like that. And then at the end, we kind of get this metaphorical dream battle where he's in charge and he has become this like giant godlike figure within the dream world. And then we see Paprika kind of rise up to challenge him. Be like, well, he might be this godlike figure, but he is not a good one. Like, he is an evil god, so we need a good one. And she like rises up and becomes this giant godlike figure too, and like absorbs his power and takes it all away, and then boom, the day is saved. It's a simplification of all of that, but yeah. What did you think of this end and like how it kind of wrapped up.
Oh, it's got an interesting turn to almost like a kaiju aesthetic.
Almost, yeah.
Where he's like huge and stomping on buildings, and then you see a projection of Dr. Chiba, not as Paprika, but like as herself, and she's like this little baby who like absorbs energy and grows until she's this giant woman who like blasts an energy blast at him.
Yeah.
Oh, I did like that when it came down to it, she was able to win this battle as herself and like gain a little bit more confidence as Dr. Chiba and not as Paprika.
I think I had said it was Paprika at the end, but then again, they're both the same person.
Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting one. Like I think upon viewing it a second time, I feel like the ending is kind of abrupt. If that makes sense. Like, if I had to speak negatively about this film, or just like what I felt like it didn't do, is like I felt like we didn't get enough time to really explore this world and this technology, or the characters. Again, we don't get much of Paprika. We get Paprika and Dr. Chiba, but I don't know if it's enough to really say like we know the characters, except for maybe the police officer. He's the one I felt like I knew the most, and then maybe Dr. Tokita underneath that. But yeah, like just this idea that all of a sudden it comes to this like crescendo, and it just, there's this big fight, and they absorb the bad guy. That's kind of it. Afterwards, it's like, oh, well,
yeah.
Okay.
You don't see much fallout of anything at the end, or like what is the new status quo like after these events.
Yeah, because they start to comment on the fact that the dream world is now infecting reality. Like certain things are happening in reality that should not be happening. And so yeah, like that's something that would affect a lot of people. Like how is this affecting the town? How is this affecting the city? Like that is something that I would like to know, and I think not including that made it feel not as fleshed out to me.
This movie's only like 90 minutes long. Like it's very tight, and it's a lot to take in. So on one hand, I kind of appreciate that it is that short. Like this is not the length of Inception, which I believe is 2 hours and 28 minutes.
Yeah.
But there are parts that I wish we did get to spend a little bit more time there, or like get to see the aftermath of certain actions.
Yeah, because we don't even really get to see, once Dr. Chiba kind of confesses her love for Dr. Tokita, we don't see it.
Yeah.
After that, it like she says, "I love you," and that kind of saves him and brings him back to reality and stuff like that. And that's it. That's all we see. Yeah, like I don't know. Like we don't get. I don't know. Like I feel like we haven't even talked about Dr. Osanai, or whatever his name is.
Yeah.
Like, he just seemed overall unimportant to the whole thing. Like,
yeah.
As tight as this film is, I think I'm glad that it was that short, but there are things that just feels like it's missing, or we didn't get enough of. So that's just me. If you had to, like, was there something that stood out to you as like, man, I don't know if I liked this aspect of the film, or it didn't really sit well with you?
It was a little tricky to follow, which might have been, like I said, I think I watched it when I was too tired. I also watched the subtitled version, and I wonder if I had watched the dubbed version first, if that would have, made anything a little bit easier for me to grasp.
It might just be one that you need to go watch a second time at some point, next year or the year after that. You now know what happened.
Yeah.
It's like, it's not so complicated that you don't understand it, but it's still one of those things that you feel like you're 2 or 3 steps behind. Okay, maybe if I watch it again, I'll know what's happening. Makes sense. Well, do you have final thoughts, or is there something else you want to talk about with Paprika?
No, I liked it. It was visually so, like, I'm glad I watched this just to break in this new TV that I have. It looks great. It's not too intimidating. Like, it's not too over the top or difficult. It's not that difficult to follow. It's not that much of a mind fuck, if you will. Like I said earlier, like, it's sort of, it's not necessarily light, but it is fun. Like, even for all of the more gruesome aspects that the dreams can touch on, like, it's still more fun overall, I think. Definitely worth checking out. Yeah. So I'd recommend my experience to anybody else to watch Inception and this very close together. Yeah.
It's an interesting double feature, as you put it. I think that about wraps us up. Me as well. You want to do recommendations?
Yeah.
If people liked this, what else should they check out?
Something this actually reminded me of a lot is The Big O. Okay. Specifically, do you remember there's one episode of The Big O where the detective, like Detective Dotson might be his name, I don't remember. He has this haunting memory of a movie he saw once as a kid, and like he can't even remember, like, was that a real movie? Or like, why do I have deja vu? Was that a real movie? Is this something I made up? I have no way to prove this. Was this anymore. My life? Yeah, like, he's haunted by this imagery from the movie. It's like, oh, here's another anime about a detective who is haunted by memories of a movie. The Big O, I think, is it's about memories, not dreams. But it's got a similar kind of, what is real, like what isn't, where do cold professionalism and a more fantastical world intersect. It's got that same kind of a story, and I'd say tone-wise, it's kind of in between Inception and Paprika. If you're not familiar with it, The Big O is an anime series. It's like 12 episodes long, and there's a sequel series about a city where 40 years ago, everybody lost their memories and just had to start over. Like, start all of culture over. It's so good. And the story is about a negotiator who just negotiates, like, crime and hostage situations throughout the city. Because it's sort of it's very noir. It's very Batman the Animated Series. Like, there's a lot of crime going on. And so he investigates these crimes, and he can't find his memories either. He's trying to figure out what happened, why did it happen. And also, he is a giant robot, and he fights other giant robots, and nobody knows why there are giant robots. They just know that there are. Yeah.
We covered it on the Whatnauts podcast a long time ago. I had seen the show, I think, once before. Paul had never seen it, and we blew our minds with that show, because that show is, I still don't know if that show is brilliantly genius or just a heaping pile of garbage. It is so wild. It is so bonkers, and it folds in on itself like 30 times, and it's just like, what is happening?
It is
wild.
Really enjoyable. But then at the end, like, you're right. I don't know if that amounted to anything. I don't know if I have any answers. I don't know if it meant anything at the end. But what a great ride. I don't know if
they had answers.
Yeah.
So we covered that on the Whatnauts podcast. So it's on our website
Mhm.
somewhere. I don't remember what number it. You can look up the
Yeah.
Whatnauts podcast on our website for all of our shows. Anything else to recommend, or was that it?
No. Well, I give you more than that. Just go watch the Pico. That's all you need.
Sounds good. I think for me, the one thing I would immediately check out is Paranoia Agents.
Mhm.
This is a TV show. It's an anime, also by Satoshi Kon. But it's not as dreamscapey or all of that stuff, but it does deal with reality and not being sure what's real and what's not. I think it's like a 26 episode anime, and it's really good. It is so good, and I think that is something else of Satoshi Kon's to check out. Of course, we also mentioned that we've covered Tokyo Godfathers on the Whatnauts podcast as well. And we've also talked about Perfect Blue here on the review show. I'm a fan of Satoshi Kon, so go check out all of his stuff. I mean, we mentioned Inception. I think that's the go-to. You have to just go to these reality-bending, dream-sharing things. You also had an interesting one that kind of spun off of Inception that you watched recently. Doctor Strange might be an interesting one to check out. The Marvel movie. Or if you don't want to watch the movie, go check out some of the comics stuff, because there is some reality bending stuff with that as well. So, recommend.
Kyle, do you have your pitches ready?
Thankfully, I do. I'm not gonna lie. I completely forgot about them until like 10 minutes ago.
Oh, okay.
So I was like looking on my phone for some stuff. Thankfully, I had a theme in mind that you reminded me of on the captain's log, and I was like, I should do that someday. I already had 2 films down for that one, so all I needed was a third.
Okay.
So, Melissa, I want to do films about racing. Racing films. So pitch number 1 is Speed Racer, the live action CGI one. I've never seen it. I've heard very, very polarizing reactions. There's people who love it. They're like, they nailed this. This is exactly what a Speed Racer movie should have been. And there's other people out there who are like, this was horrible. What were they thinking, right? So that's
I have seen Speed Racer before. It's been a long, like 10 years or something since the last time I watched it in its completion. I'll tell you, I have no idea what that movie is about, but the movie makes you not care.
Okay.
Yeah.
That sounds like a glowing recommendation if I ever heard one. So yeah, that's pitch number 1. I think that's by the Wachowski siblings, right?
Yes.
Cool. Same people who made The Matrix. And pitch number 2 is an anime film called Redline.
Oh, I've heard this is good.
This is one that your whole theme this past week was visually stunning. This movie is one of the most visually stunning anime films I have ever seen. And we never got to talk about this on the Whatnauts podcast, but Paul was the one that recommended this to me. And I ended up watching it on my own. And yeah, visually stunning. This is incredible. So I think this would be one to check out, especially since you just bought a new TV.
Yeah.
Melissa, and you're looking for cool things to watch on a new 4K TV.
Yeah.
That stuff. It is also racing. It's more sci-fi racing, kind of death race kind of thing going on. A little bit more noir, but it's hand animated. It is just wild, the things that every frame is packed.
Ooh.
I know Speed Racer is kind of that way too, with just the like computer animated colors, neon lights. Like these two go hand in hand. One that does not necessarily fit with that, but I wanted to pitch because I've pitched it before in its anime thing. There is a live action movie adaptation on Netflix of Initial D, and Melissa, let me tell you, this movie is bad.
Okay.
And that's why I wanted to pitch it. 'Cause it is not a great movie, but at the same time, it's kind of fun to watch because of that. And it still ends up having some heart behind it, which is why I'm such a big fan of the anime. The art style, which is based off of the manga, is not great in its character designs. The people don't look very I want to say well drawn, but they're just not realistic, if that makes sense. But the cars in both the manga and the anime are just so lovingly rendered. They look so good. But yeah, I found a live action adaptation of this, and it is wild. It is so fun to watch because it's just like, this is like actively not good, and it's so much fun. So those are my 3 pitches. Pitch number 1, the Wachowskis' Speed Racer. Pitch number 2, Redline. My mind just went blank, and I had a brain fart there. Pitch number 2 is Redline, and pitch number 3 is Initial D.
So I told you that I'd been meaning to rewatch Speed Racer for a while, but I was saving it because I wanted to get some specific like family and friends together and watch it on my parents' like really good like 60-inch TV. This is why I haven't seen it, because I cannot have that experience. But Kyle, you need to see Speed Racer. So I'm going to watch Speed Racer with you, and I'll just watch it again. Like, that's not a problem. I will watch Speed Racer twice in a year if I should be able to. We have to watch it.
Yeah. Okay. I'm excited. I haven't seen this one at all. Yeah. I like, it's stuff that gets really polarizing reviews always interest me more because I like art that does that. Like, it makes people talk and be like, I hated this. It was terrible. They did this wrong and that. And someone else is like, I loved it. It was amazing. It did X, Y, and Z. It was great.
Yep.
Like, how is that possible? Let me see this thing. What is it? So I'm excited. Good stuff. Melissa, where can the people find you on the internet?
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Wilkywit. That's WILKYWIT.
You can find me at Yo Kyle Springer on Twitter and Instagram. If you guys want to stay up to date with our shows, we are at the Whatnauts on Twitter. Go like, share, subscribe. Go subscribe to us on YouTube.
Yeah.
We're at 69 followers. It's great. Nice. But as nice as that is, let's get that above 70. So yeah, that would help us out a ton. That being said, this was episode 107 of the Whatnauts review show. We will see you guys next week. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you so much for checking out our podcast. We hope you enjoyed it. You guys had a recurring dream or something. Let us know down in the comments below. What do you guys dream about? What was your dream job when you were a child? Let us know. In the meantime, go subscribe to our channel, which is right up here in that corner. Go watch one of our other podcasts, which is right down here in that corner. That would help us out a ton. Would appreciate it. We will see you guys